Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Tuesday, September 22nd. Hope you guys had a good weekend, got that training in, continue to be disciplined and get that stuff done. I know it's been a hard year. We're getting towards the end of this one. I don't know. I'm starting to get a little optimistic for next year. Hoping our races come back, hoping things come back to a little bit of normal, and hopefully that happens. Before I get too far into this podcast, I want to thank Shane and Sarah from Pennsylvania. You guys know what you did, and I may or may not tell this story a little bit later on. I probably will now that I said that. Now I can't leave you guys hanging. But I just wanted to get that in there. I wanted to thank Shane and Sarah from Pennsylvania. They helped me out a lot this week. Nobody knows. Should I keep it that way? I don't know. You'll have to wait till the end of the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button down below. It's really no skin off your back. You're not going to get really bombarded with messages or anything like that. And it really, really helps out the channel. So I really appreciate you guys if you hit that subscribe button. This past Friday night, we had our happy hour with Allison Knott from A New Well Sports Nutrition. If you want to go to her website, it's anewwell, ANEWWELL.co. She's got a great deal on a membership. She's our Team Dietitian. It's a group membership. So look, it's, we all kind of try to bend over backwards a little bit to make our services sort of available to people. Coaching is a luxury. I get it. Exercise and diet go hand in hand. Having a dietitian is definitely an advantage for an athlete. If you can do it, I recommend it. Again, it's a luxury. Allison has kind of realized that and has made this group membership. So you have access to Allison in a group setting at least once a month, if not twice. She also does once a month, she does a speaker. She has a speaker come on. I was actually the speaker there last week for her. That was awesome too. That was a really good time. So thank you, Allison, for that. But you can go over to anewwell.co, check out her group deal. I know she's trying to grow that group, and it's. I think if you're a member of Team Ordinary, it's like $15 a month. I know that those spots are limited. So if you want, if you're on the team and you want to get involved, get on that as soon as you can. It'll really help you out, and it'll help your training. And she's wonderful. So we did Friday night. We did our happy hour. It was about Fad Diets. So we talked for an hour, maybe a little bit more about, a lot of different Fad Diet topics, keto, intermittent fasting. Those were two of the big ones, I think, probably the biggest two topics that we covered. Check it out. We uploaded the video up to our YouTube last night. It is there. If you missed Friday night, go check out the happy hour on our YouTube channel when you can. You'll get a lot of information out of it. She was great. What else? Wednesday night. So tomorrow night, I will be leading a workout ride on Zwift for USA Triathlon. Guys, this is big for me. This is like big time for me. This is my shot. Right? This is my 8 mile. This is my shot. Anyway, it's the USA Triathlon Ride Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't have to get an invite. All you have to do is go to the event section on Zwift, look it up. Fast forward to Wednesday. You can even filter by workouts. You will find that USA Triathlon logo at 6 p.m. in the 6 p.m. slot. Just click on that. You're going. And join us for the ride. I could really use the support. I could really use the friendly faces. And it's going to be a fun workout too, guys. I worked hard on it. I put a lot of work and effort into it. We're going to be live streaming it on our YouTube channel as well. So, you can have your Zwift computer here. Maybe you can have your cell phone here watching the YouTube channel. Or if you have a TV with your Zwift setup, you can set up the YouTube channel there as well. So I'm going to be mostly talking to the live stream, and there will be a lot of text prompts as well that I've put into the workout. The workout is, now listen, my one of my main issues with Zwift and the workouts that they have out there, and even the workouts that some other folks do, is people it's like they want to show off their toughness, right? And they want to they want to beat you down with those workouts just to prove that they're tough. And sometimes they're good. Listen, sometimes, don't get me wrong. Sometimes they're good. I don't want to berate other coaches. That's not my style. But my workout's going to be, it's doable, guys. It's doable. It's mostly 65% FTP, which is a fairly low resistance level. We're going to be messing around with cadence though. So we're going to be doing like 80 RPM up to 100 RPM. We're going to be working on cadence a lot. And then at the end, there's a 10-minute set that is 80% of FTP. So we are jacking up the resistance up for that last set. And then we're going to have you go 100 RPM. So pretty hard for 10 minutes. That's where you're going to get your sweat in. That's going to be the work portion of our workout. And look, there are ways to reduce the resistance if you get to that point and you feel like it's too much. And especially if you watch the live stream, you see me do it all the time. You can change the bias on your phone through your Zwift companion or on your screen. You can reduce it to 90%. So if you're going at 200 watts, you'll be down, math, 180. You'd be at 180 watts. That little bit might just be enough to get you through that point. In addition, you can also make it harder. So if it's not hard enough for you and you're getting towards those last couple of minutes and you're really pushing them out and you think you can do a little more, adjust that bias up and get a little bit more out of it. And that's fine too. We're going to cover all that in the workout. It's going to be a fun workout. It's going to be one that everyone can do. And no one should be ashamed of or go in with any kind of preconceived notions that you're going to probably have to drop. No, you're going to finish this one. You're going to work hard and we're all going to do it together. We're going to have a blast. I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys, if you're on Zwift, I hope you guys get involved on Wednesday night, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to see it. Just a great crowd there. It'd be a lot of fun. And then the other topic for today, obviously. First of all, this Thursday, that's another thing. Thursday, we have the Macy's coming on. Travis Macy and Mark Macy, potentially Mark. I'm not 100% sure Mark's coming, but we're going to have them on the podcast. They are from the World's Toughest Race on Amazon Prime. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It was a really fun series, about 9 episodes, and Steph and I watched it, and we had a blast. We thought it was great. I had the Iron Cowboy on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now we're having the Macy's on. They were another big storyline in the show. If you watch the show, you know who the Macy's are, and they will be here on Thursday. We will have the podcast out for you probably Thursday night or Friday, maybe Saturday, but somewhere quick. We do pretty quick turnaround around here. And then let's talk about this weekend, guys, because I had kind of an interesting weekend. I met Matt Schorer up in Lake Placid on Saturday. We did the happy hour Friday night. And then I slept home. I got up at about 5:30, packed the car, and headed up to Lake Placid. About a 3.5 hour drive. I had to stop a couple times, but got to Lake Placid. Checked in the hotel. My hotel was available. It was like 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, something like that. They got me right into the room. Matt showed up. We changed the tire on my bike, and I say we, I mean he. It would take me like a half hour to change. I would have the tools out, doing all this. Matt's just like popping the tire off with his hands. That's what happens when you work at the bike shop, man. You just know what to do. But he got the tire off and changed. It would take me a half an hour. It took him about 10 minutes. So Matt, thank you for changing the tire. And then we kind of had been talking. I was at the whim of whatever Matt wanted to do. And we knew this was the case. We kind of knew that this was the case. Matt's been up to Lake Placid a number of times. The only times I've ever ridden up there was on course during the Ironman. So Matt knows a little bit more of the area. And so we just I was like, you know what? I'll just do whatever you're going to make me do. And I'll try my best to enjoy it. And we'll see how it goes. And so Matt chose to climb Whiteface Mountain. Whatever. Good choice. I knew you know what it is? Matt's the kind of guy where if you say no, like, no, I don't want to climb Whiteface Mountain, he'd be like, all right, so we're not going to do Whiteface. We'll do it twice. We're going to do Whiteface twice. Like they'll make you do something harder. He won't. He knows it too. He knows it. And I trust me, it's an endearing quality. I don't think I'm criticizing you, Matt. It's an endearing quality. So it's like you can't say no because you're just afraid you're gonna have to do something worse. So all right, Matt, whatever you want to do. And we started riding, and he's like, he's telling me, oh, this is a bucket list item for some people, climbing Whiteface Mountain Road. We started at the toll road, the toll house. There's a toll house, so you got to pay $15 for the privilege of riding the next 5 miles, about 2,500 to 3,000 feet of verticality. And hills and they said it was an 8% grade, but ain't no way that was 8%. It was like 10 to 12% grade. And I watched some YouTube videos of people climbing and they have the grade on their computer. And it looked like the average was definitely closer to 10 with some up to like 13. It's just, you know what? And you face those hills in the virtual world on Zwift, and then you go out and you do it in real life. It's not the same. It's just not the same. It's just other, there's other effects, things that are in play. And number one, I think is just handling your bike, right? As opposed to just being on the trainer, you can look down, you can do whatever, you can be distracted. Now you got to handle your bike. There's traffic. In all honesty, the traffic in Lake Placid, they were as courteous as can be. Nobody in that park got close to me. They were mostly driving in the other lane, including at times around like sharp corners. And I'm like, dude, you can get closer. Like, don't get in a car accident with a guy coming down the hill. But they were super gracious and courteous. And we had a blast going up this hill. I mean, a little ways up, I think Matt was like, hey, this is a bucket list item for people. I'm thinking, bucket list, like people don't, if it's like, you don't say, all right, like, hey, I could run down to the corner. It's like a bucket list item for me. No, it's a bucket list item only if it's really hard. So it fit the bill. It was hard. It was challenging. And, we started up the hill, and look, I wasn't warmed up, and I didn't even realize how much I need a warm up, even outdoors. I kind of thought I would just be able to climb. And we got through maybe the first, I don't know, probably quarter mile to half a mile going uphill. Now, mind you, this thing's only 5 miles, so that's a good portion of the trip. And I was breathing so heavy. I was dying, and we had to stop. We stopped about maybe a half dozen times on the way up. I'm guessing, probably something like a half dozen times. Usually at like a scenic point where you could kind of like take a few pictures. I probably got a few pictures in the camera. I can maybe attach some of them here. But man, it was a rough go. And I tell you, one of the other things about riding in real life versus riding on the trainer, when I'm climbing Alpe de Zwift, the virtual mountain, and I'm up there and I have my trainer difficulty level, which is a setting that you can change on Zwift, at a fairly low level. It doesn't really change the outcome. It just sort of changes the gearing so you don't have to shift as much and gives you a little bit extra kind of room at the bottom. So and this is what I mean, when I'm out on the bike and I'm in my easiest gear, so my granny gear, that, if you're on flat, you would just spin the pedals and you wouldn't even go very fast because that's the kind of gear that you're in. When I'm on Zwift, I can probably do that in my lowest gear on Alpe de Zwift and get away with going 150 to 160 watts. But in real life, with 240 pounds on the bike, and I'm in that gear, there's no way. I mean, it's probably closer to 200 watts. And if you watch me this morning, try to eke out 200 watts for 5 minutes, that's what my ride was like on Saturday. It was tough. It was exhausting. And I can't get to 80 RPM either. I can't do 80 RPM when I'm in that gear going up those hills in real life. And I'm probably more like 40. It's a grind. It is a grind, and I don't practice a lot of grinding rides indoors. I stick to my 80 to 85 cadence. I don't really have to do that when I'm indoors. But when I'm outdoors, man, it was a lot different. And just, the whole experience of being outdoors. I tell you, I get a lot of flack because I train indoors a lot. And this year especially, I have normally I go out on the weekends and I go for a ride. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. when it just starts to get light out. I'll go down to my trail. Last year, I think I did the full trail, it's like 63 miles. I did that probably like 4 or 5 times. This year, I haven't done it at all. In fact, I've only taken my bike, my individual personal bike, out for one time. And all it was to put the trailer on the bike for my kid and ride her about 3 miles down and 3 miles back. And then that was it. So it's been on the trainer and really I've probably logged about 2,000 miles on that thing. The tire is just destroyed. Matt, I did change the tire back to my old tire. Matt gave me a brand new tire. And had I not changed it back, he probably would have killed me. So I do have that. I have that old tire back on the trainer. Eventually that tire will just burn right through. We're getting close now. It better not happen on Wednesday night, knock on wood. But yeah, that tire has seen better days for sure. And it should definitely not be outdoors climbing doing a bucket list ride. So it was good that we changed it. Anyway, but being outside and getting that practice handling, look, it's not detrimental. If I was doing Lake Placid this year, if I was just riding a flat course, a normal flat course, I think I would have been fine. It would have been, the toughest part would have been keen descent, which is the downhill. I don't enjoy downhills. I don't enjoy the speed. I feel out of control. I feel like, the slightest mess up and you're in the rocks and they're going to have to pick you up with a spatula. I get nervous. I get nervous. And you know what? You would be less nervous if you went out and practiced more. And that's just the truth. If I went out and rode downhills and I could start at less of a grade and a more deliberate downhill than keen descent or what I did on Saturday, if I just worked on that, I'd be fine. I'd be much more comfortable. But I haven't. I've been sitting indoors on the trainer all summer. And it mattered. All right. So I'm fessing up, guys. I'm fessing up. You guys told me I should be outside, and you were right. And I was lazy because I didn't want to take the trainer off on the weekend. There's some things that were kind of contested. We were going through this whole COVID thing that's annoying, and you just want to get work in. Obviously, I'm doing my morning rides every single day. So to take the trainer off and ride outside and then put it back, take the bike off the trainer, all that stuff, it's just a pain in the butt. And I like riding indoors, and I sincerely like riding indoors. So it's the combination. I just didn't do a lot of outdoor riding, and it just, I felt it. I mean, even just clipping into the pedals, you'd think that that's kind of like a skill that's just basic and easy. But when you're going up a big hill and you're facing that big hill, and really all you have is one pedal stroke before you lock in that left. I lock in my left foot. I get that one good pedal stroke, and I got to carry that. I got to, the other pedal raises, I got to clip in and then carry that. Now, if I don't clip in on that first or second shot, I'm going down. I'm falling over. Either that or I got to somehow kind of lean to the right and get, it's not easy. So, Matt was showing me the trick about kind of, instead of going straight up the hill, you go sideways across the road or even down. And so I was kind of going across the road, and then I'd kind of bear a left down it and do a little loop and come back up. Clip in as best I could, do a loop and come back up. And it was okay. I was doing that, and I was doing it fairly well for the first couple times that we stopped. And then there was one time where there was a car parked on the other side of the road. There's a guy in the car, and Matt took off and he went, and I went across the road, and I'm trying to do my little loop, right? So I'm doing this like little left-hand circle. And I go across the road. I have my left foot clipped. I can't get my right foot clipped. I'm trying to turn down. So now I'm turning right and turning left and facing downhill, trying to clip my right foot in, and it isn't doing it. And all of a sudden, like now I got to kind of, there's basically, I have no power in my left pedal to push the bike forward. My right foot isn't clipped in. It's kind of just out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm leaning left, and I just fell right on my face. Got a nice little bruise going on my left shin. Thankfully, that guy was so nice that I think he left his window closed because I did not hear the laughter of watching me fall on my face in the middle of the street with no one around, except him. He did roll his window down a couple minutes later and asked if I was okay. I was fine, just my pride. Matt came back down the hill. I made him climb probably an extra 100 feet to see if I was okay. And I was able to kind of get back in. Of course, then you got to do it again, right? Then you got to clip in again. And I'm just like, oh, what happens if I fall again? But I didn't. I didn't fall again. I walked, we got up the hill. After that, I got to tell you, so in the first couple times that we did, probably like the first half mile, I was struggling and I could hardly breathe. And Matt is like hearing me wheezing, and like he's actually, I think he's concerned that either we're not going to make it up to the top, or I'm going to quit, or I'm going to have a heart attack, one of the three. But I did get warmed up and we did get moving. We got up the hill. It took us about an hour and a half. I walked two portions. One that was just, I think we kind of stopped in a weird spot that was uphill, and I got up and I just walked up the little hill. And then at the very end, my back was sore. I was feeling crappy. I wanted to heave my bike off of the top of the mountain. And that was maybe like a 1/4 mile walk. That was actually fairly flat. I just didn't feel like getting back on the bike. I just walked it up to the top. And, but we did it. We did it. Ta-da! Me and Matt climbed the mountain, which I know is poor English, but that's what I put on Facebook and Twitter. Look, it was, I didn't really know about this climb so much, so it wasn't really a bucket list item for me. But I tell you, when you get to the top of something like that, it feels like you accomplished something. Even if I took rests, and if I knew, if it was a race, I would have felt bad for taking those couple rests. But it being just a kind of a Saturday ride out in the middle of nowhere, I felt, comfortable taking rests here and there. I know I can do it better. And, Matt's already like planning, we got to go back. I want to do it again. The next morning, he's like, oh, we're going to do it again. And I'm like, no, I'm going home. That's just the kind of guy he is. But, it's funny. As I was riding up that hill, it was almost that same feeling of racing. Maybe I just miss racing so much that I was going up that hill thinking, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I let him talk me into this. This is stupid. Why did I agree to do this? I'll never do this again. And then the next day, it took maybe 2 days to sink in. And I'm like, damn, I could do that better. I know I could do that better. I just got to lose some weight. I got to get a little bit strength and just go up there and just do it again. It's on, so is it a double bucket list thing? I don't think so. But, the other, and here's the other part. Here is the other end of the story. The Shane and Sarah part that I was telling you about. So here's the thing is I didn't even think about the return trip. I didn't think about the downhill. All my mind was concentrating on was getting up that hill and how difficult it was going to be. We saw some guys going down really fast. And I'm like, all right, I don't go down that fast. Like usually you hit the brakes and Matt's telling me like, oh, you can't hold your brakes the whole time. They'll liquefy and then you won't have brakes and then then you won't have any control. And I'm like, oh my God, my brakes are going to liquefy. It was... So all these things running through my head, but we get to the top. We hung out there for about 10 minutes, enjoyed the view, and then it was time to go down. And Matt's just going to bomb down the hill. And I know Matt, that's what he does. He's comfortable doing that. This is what he's outdoors all the time. He's got this practice. He's got that experience. He can do it safely. Me, on the other hand, I'm already a little sore. My hands are cold. We're up at the top of the mountain. It was 45 degrees down at the bottom. I don't know how cold it is up top, but then you start going, you start riding down the hill. And I got to tell you, I got to the very first hill, and I'm like, you know what? This just is, it didn't feel safe. On top of that, my hood, the hood of my bike, which is the handlebars, the cover, which is like a rubber piece that goes over the brake cover, it's not attached. So when I grip it, especially if I grip it tight, it slides. And so I don't feel safe. I feel like I don't have control of the bike and the handlebars, which is the most important part when you're going downhill. So I'm going down the first hill and I'm like, all right, I don't feel safe. So I kind of stop and I walk it down to a part that's a little bit more level. And then I kind of go down that part. I'm feeling better, a little more comfortable. And then I make a turn and it's the crazy downhill. And I'm like, you know what? This just isn't safe. And I'm thinking in my head, like Matt's probably in the car already. Here I am like walking down the hill. Well, that's supposed to be the fun part. I did not feel safe. And having 2 kids and having to come home, I wasn't ready to risk anything. And having that handle that just I couldn't grip it. And my hands are freezing. So it just was bad. It was bad news. So I pull over and I said to myself, all right, I'm going to get to the sort of flattish parts and I'll do those on the bike. And then if it gets a little bit hairy, I'll stop in advance and I'll just walk it. Maybe I'll grab my phone out of my bag and call Matt and let him know I'm just going to be a while. And I start walking down the hill and there was one part I didn't fully lose control. You know how your handlebar, you get the wiggles. But if I was pretty darn close to it, I just didn't feel comfortable. So I stopped and I walked a portion of the hill and his car pulled next to me. Shane and Sarah from Pennsylvania. Hey man, you want to ride down? Yeah, I'll take that ride down. Not only did I take the ride down, but I had them drop me off about 100 yards behind Matt's car. So, by the way, Matt's going like 50 miles an hour down this thing. So, and the cars are going about 20. So he's already in the car. I would have been walking that thing down 5 miles worth of road. It would have taken me an hour and, probably, and he would have been wondering if I was splat against the wall or against, if he had to go back with the spatula and scoop me up off the road. So yeah, I did. I took the ride. I took the ride down. Look, I'm happy that I got up the hill. I'm happy that I made it up the mountain. That was the strenuous part. Coming back down, I'm not going to risk my life. I'm just not. I didn't feel comfortable. As a coach, I would recommend that for you guys. If you don't feel comfortable at any point on the bike, you got to get off and you got to work on those skills to make you comfortable, to get you to the point where you're comfortable doing that. And look, I might not have been comfortable going down a 12% grade hill or a 13% grade hill. I don't have practice doing that. So is it a surprise? I don't think so. Am I a wuss? Maybe. Maybe. I'll leave that to your judgment, though. But never do anything that you feel unsafe doing is the point. And then on top of that, when you find something that you feel uncomfortable doing, you got to just work on intervals to get to that point. So I should be working on shorter hills, less steep hills. I should get my bike fixed. I should get so it handles better. I should, you can watch videos on how to do that. You have to do it yourself and learn and get comfortable doing the things that you're uncomfortable doing now. And that's the way we improve, right? So that's the story of my ride. It was great seeing Matt. I can't wait to see him again. I'll be doing that. I'll probably see him. I don't know if the next time I see him might be in Maine. For Ironman Maine 70.3 next year. I think I'm going up to that. I don't know if I'm competing or not. I might be swimming. I might not. I don't know. And Ironman Lake Placid, he'll be competing, and I'm just going to have the family up there watch. I'm looking forward to that. I might see him another time too. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm glad we got the podcast done. Looking forward to a great week. We got the USA Triathlon Ride tomorrow night. We got the Macy's on Thursday. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it.